This is the Chapter 6 review with Mr. V. I'm going to do the odds. So on the first one here, it says that we need to make a frequency table and only a frequency table. So what we need to do is we need to take our, step one is take our biggest minus our smallest. So it looks like that'd be 42 and 10. So I'd take 42 minus 10, and I'm going to divide that by 5. So 42 minus 10 is 32. 32 divided by 5 is going to be 7 point something. I'm sorry, 6.4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of having 6.4, I'm going to round up to just have 7. So that's my intervals right there. So then I just have to make my frequency table, which would be in the top left would be students, and then the top right would be the frequency. And then my interval is 7. So I start with my lowest number, so that'd be 10 to 17, and then 18 to 24, and then 25 to 32, and then 33 to 40, and then 41 to 47. And what I would do from there is I would just mark these, and in a situation like this, I'd probably tally them. So 10 to 17, I would just do tallying them or marking them and then crossing them off. Oh, that last one was 22. Okay, so I've done all that, and then you would just add these all up. And then that's our frequency table right there. This number 3 says make a histogram. So in order to make a histogram, we need to start with a frequency table. So there's going to be price, and then there's going to be frequency. But now I need to find out how big my intervals are going to be. So it looks like my biggest number is going to be 15. So I'm going to do 15 minus my smallest number, which looks to be 6. Okay, so I'm going to do 15 minus 6 divided by 5. And what that would give you is 9 divided by 5. So that's going to give us the decimal. So 9 divided by 5 is equal to 1.8. So let's just round up to 2. So my intervals are going to be 2. I start with my lowest number, which is 6, so it'd be 6 to 8, then 9 to 11, then 12 to 14, and then 15 to 17. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did before, is I'm going to mark or tally each one of these off and put them in their respective intervals. All right, so then after I get all of them done, so I have 3 3 in the first one, 6 in the second one, 3 in the third one, and then 1 in the fourth one. And this one only gave me 4 intervals. That's okay. It's not that big of a deal. As long as you have a minimum of 4, you're all right. So then what we need to do is we need to make a histogram. So we need to start by making a big L. And then, actually I'm going to redo that, because I need to leave space. And what I'm going to do is I'm literally taking each one of these intervals and I'm just putting it down right here. So that would look like 6 to 8, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, and then 15 to 17. And then make sure you label. And then the frequency, looks like there's only 6, so you could go by ones. So 1, 2, actually, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, from here, all I need to do is then take this data over here and make my little bars. So in 6 to 8, there was 3, so I'm just going to do something like that. And then 9 to 11 was 6. So remember that the histograms have to be touching, or the bars have to be touching. And then maybe I'll do dots for this one to make it look a little different. 12 through 14 is 3. And then 15 to 17 is 1. So it's a little bit off, but a little bit not the size, but they have to be touching, so that's fine. And that's your histogram. All right, mean, median, mode. Remember 2 things. First, you want to put these in order. So I would put these from smallest to biggest. It'd be 7, 8, 8, 10, 12. And then the other thing is, for the mean, that's the average. You need to divide by how many numbers there are. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So for that mean, I'm gonna add all these numbers up. So that's 7 plus 8 plus 10 plus 12. That's gonna be 45. I'm going to divide by 5 because that's how many numbers we have, and that's going to give me 9. The median is the middle number, so I would take 1 from the left, 1 from the right, 1 from the left, 1 from the right. It's going to give me 8. And then from there, I know in the mode, that's the number that happens the most often. There's 2 8s, so there would be just an 8 in the mode there. And the range is the biggest minus the smallest, so that'd be 12 minus 7, which is equal to 5. I'm going to do the same thing for 7. First, I'm going to put them in order. So I have 5, 7, 9, 9, 12. So then I'm done with that. For the mean, I'm going to add them and divide by the number 5. So that'd be 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 9 plus 12. It's going to give me 42. I'm going to divide by 5 because that's how many numbers I have. That's going to give me 8.4. So decimals are okay. The median is the middle number. So if I cross off the 5, cross off the 7, 7, 9. So the middle number is 9. Now, if there was an even number here, for example, say there was another number and it was 13, what I would need to do is I would cross off left, cross off right, and I would keep going. And I would be left with 2 numbers in the middle, right? So I'd have to add those and then divide them by 2. So in this case, it would be 9.5. I'm sorry, it would still be 9, but you would just need to add these 2 middle numbers and then divide by 2. But we're not doing that in this case, so don't worry about that. So the middle number here is just 9, And then the range would be our biggest number, which isn't 13, sorry. It's 12 minus 5, so that would be 7. All right, so I've already plotted this just to save some time. What I did was just keep in mind that this is X and this is Y. I didn't have any room on the left-hand side, so I put it on the right-hand side. But you have to scale it. So I take my biggest number minus my smallest number. No, I'm sorry. I take my biggest number, which was 38, and I divide by how many lines I have. Now there's 20 lines on the x-axis. So I take 38 divided by 20. So I got, when you do that, you get 38. That's 1.9. So let's just make it easy on ourselves, and we're going to round up to 2. So each line on this x-axis is going to be 2. And then for the points earned, I'm going to take 14. I'm going to divide that by 20. That's going to give me, so 13, sorry, not 13, 14 divided by the number of lines, which is 20. That's going to give me 0.7. You could do 0.7 if you wanted to. I just round it up again to make it a whole number of 1. So each one of these lines is worth 1. I plotted all my points, and then in the purple I did the trend line. And what that gives me is a positive correlation. You do the same thing here. So this would be my X, this would be my Y. I know there's 20 lines, so I'm going to take 15, which is my biggest number, divided by 20. And that's going to be 0.75. So I probably round that to 0.8. You could probably round that to 1 if you'd wanted to. So that means everything on here is going, each line is going to be 0.8. So that would be 1.6. And then you would just keep going. So I'll graph that quick. So that was what it looked like if I went by 0.8. Each or every other is 1.6. So I just did 1.6 plus 1.6 would be 3.2 plus 1.6 would be 4.8. So that gives you the every other. So now for the account balance, my biggest number looks to be 425. I'm going to divide that by my number of lines, which is equal to 20. So that's going to be 21.25. Now we got some, this is a pretty big number, so I'm just going to round this up to an even 22. So that means each one of these lines is going to be 22. Now I'm going to have to do it on the right-hand side because I don't have room for my left-hand side. So I'll graph that. So then after I graph all my points, it'll look something along those lines. Make sure that you want to label. So I have my time and balance labeled, and then the last thing I want to do is make a trend line. So I just want to get something that's like right in the middle of all of my points. So it's going to look something like that. And it just shows me that there is a negative correlation. All right, last one here. A survey asked a group of 100 freshmen and sophomore college students whether they preferred to work in study groups or alone. So we have our different variables. So our variables are students. And then we also have how they prefer to study. So let's make a histogram. So one of the easiest ways to do it is to, when you have two variables of each, is to just draw your lines and then know that you have to draw two more in each one. So it's not the perfect two-way frequency table, but you get the drift. So in my, actually I need to draw one more here. because that's going to tell me for total, and then my bottom left one is total, and my top left is just blank. So in my students, there's two subcategories, right? So there are freshmen, and then there are sophomores, and then there also what I forgot to do is added one right here. So this one tells you that we have, do you like to study in groups or alone? So it tells us there's a group of 100 freshmen and sophomore college students. So that gives me a total of 100. And then 60 freshman students, 35 of them. So it says right there, there's 60 total freshman students, 35 prefer to study in groups. And then of the 40 total sophomores, so there's 40 right there, 27 they prefer to study alone. And so what we got to do is we got to finish the survey. So first off, it tells me 60 plus 40 is equal to 100, so that's correct. So now what I need to find out is how many sophomore in the group here that like to stay in groups. So what I can do is, if this is 40 right here, I can just take 40 minus 27, and that's going to be equal to 13. So then right there, that number is 13. So then I can just check my answer by 13 plus 27 is equal to 40. I can do the same thing over here. So I have a total of 60 freshmen minus 35 of them who like to study in groups. Oh, actually, hold on. I screwed up. And the reason why I screwed up is because I labeled wrong. I labeled wrong because, oh no, I was right. Sorry. So there's 40. So that was right. I was just getting my variables mixed up for a second. So then I would do 60 minus 35. So the total freshmen minus how many like to study in groups. And that would give me 35, 45, so 25. And then 35 plus 20, or I'm sorry, 35 plus 25 is equal to 60. So then 35 plus 13 for our totals on the right-hand side. 35 plus 13 would be 48. And then 25 plus 27 is equal to 52. So here's the moment of truth. If I add these two together, will that equal our total number of 100? And it will. So 52 plus 48 is equal to 100. So what you could tell from this is that there are 35 freshmen who like to study in groups. There's 25 that like to study alone. There's 13 sophomores that like to study in groups. 27 like to study alone. There are a total of 48 total freshmen and sophomore that like to study in groups, and a total of freshmen and sophomores that like to study alone. And that is all there is. So if you have anything, please feel free to stop by or email myself or Ms. Schultz. Remember, the test is coming up, and let me know if you have any questions or comments. All right, thanks a lot. Bye.